It was once said that the secret lies in surrounding yourself only with those who elevate you, those whose presence brings out the best in you. You may have heard the phrase, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Today, we'll delve into this concept through a Stoic perspective. We'll discuss 7 types of individuals who can hinder your progress in Stoic philosophy and how to manage these challenging relationships. Before we dive in, I'd appreciate it if you liked the video to help me continue spreading Stoic philosophy. If you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest subscribing and activating the bell so you won't miss any videos. Type of people to avoid. Number 1. The complainer. The first type of person to avoid is the complainer. We all know someone, friend, family member, or colleague who always finds something to criticize. Whether it's the weather, their job, or even the food at a popular restaurant. They never miss a chance to voice their dissatisfaction. You might ask, why should this matter to me? I can just ignore them. But that's easier said than done. Being consistently exposed to such negativity can slowly drain your mental well-being. Much like a leaky faucet gradually depletes your emotional energy reserves. Stoicism encourages us to focus on actionable solutions rather than fixating on problems. For instance, imagine you're collaborating on a project with someone who constantly complains. Every meeting becomes an exhausting session of grievances without any constructive dialogue. This affects the team's morale, distracts you from finding solutions, and might even leave you feeling disenchanted with the project and life in general. So, how can Stoicism help us deal with a complainer? There are several strategies you can use. First, limit your exposure to this person whenever possible. If that's not feasible, perhaps because they are a family member or colleague, your second option is to mentally distance yourself during their rants. Think of their complaints as a passing storm, loud and unsettling, but ultimately temporary and powerless against the unmovable mountain that is your inner tranquility. Your third option is to steer the conversation towards solutions or change the subject to something more constructive. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This timeless Stoic wisdom encourages us to guard our mental peace diligently, ensuring that negativity from chronic complainers doesn't derail us from our Stoic path of resilience and virtue. Type of people to avoid. Number 2. The drama magnet. The second type of person to avoid is the drama magnet. Picture your life as a ship sailing through calm waters, but then you encounter the whirlpool known as the drama magnet. Someone who seems to have an endless series of crises, conflicts, or controversies. Like a whirlpool, they have an unsettling ability to pull you into their vortex, chaos. Initially, you might be drawn to their energy, mistaking it for passion or excitement. However, you'll soon realize that being in their sphere is like navigating a ship through a storm. Exhausting and dangerous. What makes dealing with drama magnets particularly tricky is that their crises can often feel like your own, and their chaos is contagious. You might even find yourself caught up in conflicts that you had no part in initially. For example, suppose you have a friend who frequently falls out with others in your social circle. Today, they're not speaking to Sarah. Tomorrow it's Tom. They come to you for advice, but you notice this cycle never ends, and suddenly you find yourself at odds with Sarah or Tom because you tried to intervene. In such a case, you could use a strategy called reflective listening. Instead of offering advice or taking sides, mirror their words back to them. For instance, if they say, "I can't believe Sarah said that about me," you could respond, "So you're feeling betrayed by Sarah's words?" This technique allows you to provide emotional support without getting entangled in the drama yourself. Another approach, which might sound counterintuitive, is to become selectively unavailable. Stoicism reminds us to value our time highly, and sometimes that means being unavailable for other people's crises, especially if they're recurring without resolution. Turn off your phone during certain hours. Create focus periods, where you concentrate solely on your work or personal development, and make it known that during these times, you're not to be disturbed. As Seneca paraphrased, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future. This mindset can be particularly helpful when dealing with drama magnet. Instead of anxiously wondering what crisis will happen next, Focus on the present moment where you have control. Enjoy your life and don't let it be disrupted by someone else's drama. Make it a point to steer your ship calmly, avoiding whirlpools that threaten your journey toward personal growth and tranquility. Type of people to avoid. The naysayer. The third type of person to avoid is the naysayer. Imagine you're an artist painting a canvas. Each brushstroke adds color, depth, and life to your vision. Then, the naysayer walks into your studio, glances at your work, and immediately begins to critique it. Are you sure about that color? That doesn't look realistic. You know most artists never make it, right? Their words, like strokes of gray paint, start to dull your vibrant canvas. This isn't your standard constructive criticism, which can be valuable. Instead, it's a persistent aura of doubt and negativity. For instance, let's say you're excited about pursuing a new career path. You've done your research, spoken to professionals in the field, and even taken a few preliminary courses. But when you share your enthusiasm with the naysayer, they quickly list all the reasons it won't work out. The market is too competitive. Do you have the right skills? What if you fail? Soon enough, their doubts start to feel like your own, and the self-assured vision you had begins to waver. So, how do you deal with a naysayer, especially when they might be someone close to you? One unconventional but effective method is to ask them for advice rather than just sharing your plans or aspirations. When people are put in an advisory role, they're less likely to attack your ideas outright and may offer more constructive feedback. Another method involves flipping the script through a technique called positive confrontation. Instead of absorbing their negativity, challenge them to think of solutions. They say, "You'll never be able to switch careers at this stage." Counter with, "Interesting perspective. How do you think someone could successfully make a career change then?" This not only deflects the negativity, but also encourages a more constructive form of conversation. Remember the words of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Listening doesn't mean absorbing everyone's negativity. It means discerning valuable input from mere noise. When the naysayers start to cloud your canvas with their shades of doubt, take a step back, listen, reflect, and continue painting your own life with the colors that speak to you. Don't let anyone turn your vibrant masterpiece into a dull gray landscape. Type of people to avoid, number 4, victim. Fourth type of person to avoid is the victim. Think of life as a game of chess. Each player has the same pieces and the same goal: checkmate the opponent's king. You think strategically, make sacrifices, and take risks. The victim, however, blames the board, pieces, or even their opponent for every poor move they make. In their eyes, they're perpetually in checkmate, not because of their choices, because of some external force working against them. Their narrative is a never-ending tale of woe, with themselves cast as the helpless protagonist. "I can't get ahead in my job because my boss dislikes me," or "I can't get fit because I have bad genetics." Now, it's important to acknowledge that some people face genuine hardships and systemic issues. However, the victim we're discussing uses their predicament as a permanent excuse, refusing to take any responsibility for their actions or lack thereof. You might find yourself entangled in their storyline, perhaps as the supporting character who constantly needs to rescue them. Let's say you've spent countless hours listening to a friend blame their endless string of failed relationships entirely on their ex-partners. Not only does this consume your time, but it can also subtly encourage you to adopt a similar victim mindset in your own life. So what's your move when dealing with a victim? It might be tempting to become their savior, offering endless advice and emotional support. But the Stoics would caution against this. They'd recommend drawing a firm boundary to protect your own mental state. You could use a technique known as compassionate detachment. Show empathy and kindness, but don't try to rescue them from situations they need to navigate themselves. Offer a listening ear, but refrain from becoming their perpetual problem solver. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." You find yourself sucked into the victim's narrative, resist the urge to become one yourself. Take control of your own game board, make your moves, and remember, in the chess game of life, being perpetually in checkmate is often a choice, not a fate. Keep your pieces moving forward, make strategic sacrifices when necessary, and play not for revenge or pity, but for growth and wisdom. Type of people to avoid. Number 5, toxic positivist. The 5th type of person to avoid is the toxic positivist. You know this person. They're always exuding sunshine, rainbows, and endless streams of emojis. They're the ones telling you to just be happy when you're going through a difficult period, dismissing your struggles with a well-intentioned but ultimately unhelpful, "It could be worse." Imagine you're dealing with a significant life challenge, perhaps the loss of a loved one, a breakup, or a career setback. You confide in a friend who responds with, "Just stay positive. Everything happens for a reason." While their intentions might be good, this relentless optimism can feel invalidating, as if your emotions aren't valid or worth exploring. Stoicism teaches us the value of facing reality head-on, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This quote reminds us that challenges are not to be glossed over, but to be acknowledged, confronted, and overcome. Toxic positivity, on the other hand, encourages us to slap a smiley face on our problems and keep going without addressing the underlying issues. When you encounter a toxic positivist, it's essential to assert your emotional boundaries. You can acknowledge their intentions while also making it clear that you need space to process your emotions authentically. For example, if someone says, "Just focus on the good things," you might respond, "I appreciate your positive outlook, but right now, I need to work through what I'm feeling. It's important for my growth." You could also introduce them to the concept of realistic optimism, a mindset that acknowledges the difficulties while also recognizing the potential for positive outcome. This balance allows you to address challenges without being overwhelmed by them or dismissing them entirely. By taking this approach, you stay true to the Stoic principle of embracing reality while maintaining your mental and emotional resilience. In the journey of life, challenges are inevitable. It's how we face them that defines our character. The next time someone tries to cheer you up with toxic positivity, remember that true resilience comes not from ignoring your pain, but from acknowledging it, learning from it, and emerging stronger on the other side. Keep your focus on the road ahead, but don't be afraid to pull over and deal with the obstacles in your path. Type of people to avoid. Number 6, the gossiper. The 6th type of person to avoid is the gossiper. Picture this. You're at a social gathering, and someone starts sharing the latest juicy details about a mutual friend. The conversation quickly turns into a dissection of that person's life choices, with everyone offering their 2 cents. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of the conversation. Soon enough, you might find yourself contributing to the gossip, even if you didn't intend to. Gossip can be tempting. It's a way to bond with others, feel included, and even momentarily elevate your own self-esteem. However, engaging in gossip can erode your character and harm your relationships. You might start to wonder, if they're talking about others behind their backs, what are they saying about me when I'm not around? Stoicism teaches us to speak only what is true, necessary, and kind. Gossip rarely meets these criteria. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Instead of participating in gossip, focus on being a person of integrity. When someone tries to involve you in gossip, you can steer the conversation in a different direction, or simply excuse yourself. If you find it difficult to avoid gossip in certain social circles, consider spending less time with those individuals or addressing the issue directly. You might say, "I'd rather talk about something more positive," or "Let's focus on the good things about this person." By doing so, you uphold your Stoic values and set a positive example for others. In the grand scheme of things, gossip is a fleeting and shallow pursuit. It distracts you from your own growth and can lead to unnecessary conflicts and misunderstanding. Instead of getting caught up in the latest rumors, focus on building meaningful connections based on trust, respect, and mutual support. Remember, your words have power. Use them wisely. Type of people to avoid. Number 7, a manipulator. The 7th and final type of person to avoid is the manipulator. This person is often charming, persuasive, and skilled at getting what they want, sometimes at the expense of others. They might use flattery, guilt, or deception to influence your decisions, leaving you feeling used or betrayed. Manipulators are dangerous because they can erode your sense of self and lead you down a path that's not aligned with your values. You might find yourself agreeing to things you're not comfortable with, or compromising your principles to avoid conflict. Stoicism teaches us to be aware of our own thoughts and motivations as well as those of others. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When dealing with a manipulator, it's crucial to remain calm, assertive, and true to your values. If you sense that someone is trying to manipulate you, take a step back and evaluate the situation objectively. Ask yourself, what are their intentions? How does this align with my values and goals? You can also practice setting firm boundaries with manipulators. For example, if someone tries to guilt trip you into doing something, you might respond, "I understand how you feel, but this decision is important to me, and I need to stick to it." By asserting your boundaries, you protect your integrity and maintain control over your actions. It's also essential to surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries and support your growth. You find yourself repeatedly dealing with manipulators, it might be time to reevaluate those relationships and focus on building connections with individuals who share your values. In the end, your journey towards Stoic wisdom and personal growth is yours alone. While it's important to be compassionate and understanding towards others, it's equally crucial to protect your own mental and emotional well-being. By avoiding these 7 types of people, you'll create an environment that fosters your growth, resilience, and inner peace.